there is a specific template for our lives. I'm wondering if this template is actually revealed in the deck of what we consider 52 playing cards, and if this template level of reality is expressed and symbolized in the deck of 52 playing cards. Where exactly did these cards come from? Who created them and when? And what is the best way for us to utilize these cards now in our lives in order to explore the theme of our lives, play our cards right, and give ourselves permission to be our best self? Thanks, Bashar.
All 52 are symbolic of the template level because it can be mixed and matched in any number of ways. It's not any one card, it's all of them that represents and symbolizes the template level, which is created by the choices you make in spirit to have a physical experience. So, as above, so below. You use the energy of the consciousness field to arrange certain kinds of blueprints that will manifest physiologically as the theme you will explore in physical reality. And the idea of any kind of permission slip, like a normal deck of cards or tarot cards or any kind of divination system, represents to some degree the idea of the template level. Now, you have some freedom in that with your free will as to how you experience the template you laid out for yourself, and sometimes some things can be altered or shifted. But in general, the choices made by you as a spirit will be played out as the cards you are dealt. But you can shift them around a little bit here and there with your free will, but you will play that game. That's what you decided as a spirit. So that's how the cards represent the idea of the template level in energy that then becomes crystallized down in frequency, down into what you experience as the physical card game that you are playing. Playing the right cards, as you say, is easy when you simply follow the formula. That's the secret to playing your best hand.
Hey, how are you, Bashar?
Perfect, and you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Let's see. My questions are feelings or thoughts the higher priority for manifesting our reality? Because it seems like unresolved feelings manifest over our thoughts. So how are they linked? And
This is how it works. First, you begin with beliefs and definitions. What you believe to be true is reinforced by the idea of feeling that it is true, thinking that it is true, and behaving as if it is true. Belief systems use feelings, emotions, thoughts, and behaviors to reinforce the validity and the reality of the belief system because physical reality isn't really real. Therefore, beliefs have to make you believe that it is real, and they do so by reinforcing what you believe to be true with the idea that it feels true, you think it's true, and you behave as if it's true. That's the priority, that's the order in which it happens. You cannot have a behavior, you cannot have a thought, and you cannot have an emotion without first believing or defining that something is true for you. Beliefs are the blueprint that allow you to build the house of your physical reality. So it all starts with that. So when you behave a certain way, when you think certain thoughts, when you feel certain emotions, they all go back to what must I believe to be true about myself in order to feel, think, and behave this way. Does that help you?
yeah, so if I want to change the belief system, the action or how I behave would be the best way to start, and then the feelings and thoughts
You
would
can
follow.
start from any direction you wish, but in a sense, the most efficient way to change a belief system is to figure out what that belief is telling you, figure out why you're buying into it, because it may simply be a habit that you have because you've been taught to believe this way. It may be that you're getting something out of believing that way because you don't hold on to any belief you don't think serves you. So even if it doesn't seem to serve you, you may have a belief that says that the alternative would be worse than holding on to the beliefs you have, even if they're not comfortable. Because you all want to believe that everything needs to serve you, which is true. It can. But sometimes you have beliefs And you hold on to them even if you know they're not the best beliefs to hold on to, because you have a belief that the alternative would be worse. And therefore you'll still hold on to whatever it is you're holding on to until you change, until you understand that the idea that something worse will happen if you behave more like your true self is a fallacy. So you have to examine why the belief is there to begin with, allow yourself to understand why you're buying into it, and be honest in your self-investigation of what you believe will happen if you actually go in a direction you say you would prefer to. Once you understand that a negative and fear-based belief is simply telling you a story that isn't necessarily true, then you can see that it is nonsensical and illogical. And as soon as it is nonsensical, you will drop it because you don't hold on to things that don't make sense. If you do hold on to things that don't make sense, it's because you have a belief that says it makes more sense than the alternative. This is what we call the motivational mechanism in your psychology as humans. You always, without fail, move in the direction of what you believe serves you. You always, without fail, move away from what you believe does not serve you. So if you see yourself choosing things that you know intellectually don't serve you, it can only mean you've defined it and attached a belief to it that says it's better than the alternative. It serves you better than the alternative. Find out why you believe that. And when you expose the belief and the story it's telling you, you will see that it makes no sense and it will be dropped. It will be gone.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Let's see. The next question is from the soul's perspective. Is the physical body like a radio-controlled car where the soul puts input to make it go left and right, and then there's always input, also input from the environment? So it's like
to some degree, you can use whatever analogy you wish, but the idea really is that the physical world and the physical body is a projection of the soul's consciousness. It's like putting on a diving suit. More than the idea of a remote control car, it's like putting on a diving suit or a diving mask and going diving under the ocean. The mask helps you see underneath the ocean clearly. It's not designed to tell you what to do. It's designed to tell you what you're experiencing more clearly. When you leave the physical reality, it's like taking off the diving mask and going back to the surface. So even though you have free will as a physical being, the soul determines what the general trajectory is from its own free will. And that may be what the physical mind thinks of as destiny. In other words, you are the person you are. You will do everything as the person you are. You cannot actually fundamentally change the person that you are, although the personality can shift to a great degree, but it's still happening to you as you think of yourself as a separate autonomous being. So you have the free will to experience the destiny of the soul in any way, shape, or form that the physical mind chooses to, positive, negative, happy, sad, whatever, fast, slow, up, down, but you will walk that path because it was determined by your free will as a soul. Is this helping?
Yeah, the diving suit was a much better metaphor than the radio-controlled car.
All right.
Thank you. Two more questions really fast.
Yes.
When a soul wants to have an experience here on Earth, and many souls wants to have an experience here on Earth, who gets priority?
There is no need for priority because there are a multitude of infinite parallel realities that can have a similar experience.
Okay, and then the last question. On your planet, do you fart and do you laugh at your own farts like humans do?
We laugh, but we don't eat, so we don't fart.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was all. Thank you very
all
much.
right. Thank you, Aveo.
Aveo.
Good day, Bashar. I would like to know about the Bosnian pyramids, the ones located in Visoko, and like who built them and for what purpose, and Yeah, anything you can tell me about the pyramids in Visoko in Bosnia? Thank you.
Pyramids around your planet at a certain time were all built relatively close to one another in time, around your 10,500 years ago. The idea is that they were energy collectors to balance the Earth that had gone through a catastrophic change when it was impacted by a cometary body that caused the annihilation of your Atlantean civilization. And therefore, knowledge and energy was preserved in many pyramids around the planet. And also, they were used as an energy balancing system to bring the planet back into alignment so it could recuperate and heal. There are other things that they were used for, but we will not go into that right now.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for talking to me.
It is our passion and our pleasure. What would you like to discuss?
So I've been following my excitement more and more since I kind of started to listen to you speak, and it feels really great. And I've been doing some like bigger and some smaller changes, and I'm following your advice of this thing of basically following my excitement more moment to moment, because there's no like one big thing in that sense.
All right, now do remember the entire formula, not just follow your excitement. There's other pieces to it, yes?
Yes, I know.
All right.
And I think what I'm like, one thing that just as an example, that I quit one job that I felt like I was not excited about at all.
All right.
And now I have more free time, which is fun.
Yes.
And then sometimes I get kind of frustrated with myself, because I feel like I sit there and I know that I have all these options to act on, but I kind of don't know what to do. And I wonder
yes,
if
you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. The idea, again, isn't that complicated. Don't overcomplicate it. If you have different options, decide for yourself which one is not only more attractive, more exciting than any other option, but which one can you act on? Which one can you do something about? If it seems that more than one is equal, you might as well flip a coin. Remember, synchronicity comes to bear in this, because if you flip a coin and say, all right, heads option A, tails option B, and you flip the coin, one of two things might happen. Let's say it lands on tails, option B, and you find yourself going, oh goody. Or you find yourself going, oh, I wish it had been option A instead. Oh, I wish it had been option A. Then you will know that that was the one that was more exciting. Or if you do head down a path that isn't necessarily the most exciting path for you at that moment, synchronicity will create certain circumstances that will turn you around in the correct direction. That's how it works. It's an automatic mechanism. So you don't have to sit there and wonder and be frustrated. Just act on whatever you are capable of acting on that contains more excitement than anything else, as far as you can determine, and let synchronicity guide you with the red light, green light aspect of its being, of its nature, which means it will bring you opportunities you can act on and take further, green light synchronicity. It will prevent you from acting on certain things that are not the correct path for you right now, red light synchronicity, just like you follow your traffic lights when you drive. You understand? Mm. So the starting and stopping is the way synchronicity guides you. No, not right now. Don't act in that direction. Act in this direction, whatever you can act on. And you have to use your imagination. Be very creative about the idea of what it means to take action on something in every way that you possibly can that has to do with that thing you say excites you. Even if you have to simulate the reality, that's taking an action on it. Mm. Let me give you an example that many people on your planet have used. There are many people who you call celebrities that are famous. But you will hear stories from many of them that before they were actually able to literally do what it is that they now do, that they're famous for, they acted it out. They simulated it. Even sometimes going so far for someone who might be a public speaker in an auditorium or a game show host or a late night interviewer as to go into a space, set it up like it's really happening, even to the level of putting fake people in the audience, maybe even just cardboard cutouts, and doing their routine as if it's really happening. Because then you're training your body to get used to the vibration of the reality of that, and that will make you attract it more strongly by doing anything you can to simulate anything you can to take an action in the direction of what excites you more than any other choice. And when we talk about that, it can also be very simple things. We don't mean when we say follow your passion, follow your excitement, that it has to be a grand project or come with trumpets or be a life-spanning career. Ta-da, here's your passion. No. Every day you have little options, simple options. I can take a walk. I can read a book. I can have lunch with a friend. I can watch a movie. Just choose the one that has more attractiveness, more curiosity, more excitement, even just the tiniest bit more that you're able to act on than any other one, and just do that first. You're still following your excitement by doing it on that level, and eventually it will usually snowball through synchronicity to bring you more and more opportunities to act on your passion in bigger and bigger and bigger ways. But the point is, it doesn't really matter if it does or not, because you're still following your excitement just by making sure that every day the options you choose are more exciting than any other option, and taking action on the ones that you can. That's all there is to it. You don't have to make it a big mystery or overcomplicate it or overthink it. That's why you're frustrated.
So you're saying I'm frustrated because I am making it way more complicated.
Yes.
Because I feel like sometimes it's literally that I have like an afternoon off and I'm sitting at home and I don't know, like
Then you're not using your creative imagination. Sitting at home. Why are you speaking with us today? Was this more exciting than any other option?
Yes.
Well, you see, that wasn't hard. So what will you do after this conversation is over? What are your options after this conversation is over? What are your options? Name some.
Probably go to sleep because it's quite late here.
All right. Going to sleep can be exciting. That's fine. But let's say it's morning. What would be some of your options?
Usually like go for a walk, go to workout.
Do you enjoy those things? Are they expressions of your passion?
Yes, they are.
Are you sure? Because you kind of hesitated.
No, I'm sure.
All right. Because remember, sometimes you may be sort of doing what excites you, but you may not be doing it in the most exciting way. Because the idea of following your passion requires every component of it to also be the most exciting way. So you can do a thing, but where you're doing it, how you're doing it, when you're doing it, with whom you're doing it, all have to be of that vibration, or you're not really following your passion. So you get to decide the way in which you're actually acting on your excitement. And isn't that an exciting thought?
It is actually.
All right. So just make sure that whatever it is you choose to do out of the options that you have, whether it's taking a walk or working out, you're doing it in the most exciting way as a whole system. All the components of it are being done in the most exciting way. And if you can't find that one of the components is the most exciting way you would prefer to do it, use your creative imagination to create your exciting way of doing it. Yes?
Yeah, I think that what you just said with the creative, that actually helps a lot. I've never thought about it that way, that I have the power to do that.
You do. You do. So if that makes things more exciting, then you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Does this
Thank
help?
you. Yeah, that helped a lot. Yes, it really did.
All right. Does that serve you today?
Yes.
Then we thank you for your interaction. Aveo.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Of course, always. You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Why would I have anything else?
Sorry?
Why would I choose anything else?
Oh, yeah, that's makes sense.
Yes, I know. That's why I said it. So go and don't choose what doesn't make sense.
I will. Thank you so much, Bashar.
It's up to you. Thank you.
Connection between those?
There is some. We will not go into detail, but there is also a connection between Anasazi, Anunnaki, and Essassani.
Yes. Okay. All right. So moving on to some current events. Are ETs able to listen in to the current UFO/UAP hearings that we are having here in the US?
Yes.
Do they feel the same happiness and anticipation that we humans feel who believe that aliens are real?
We understand that bit by bit, this is progressing toward the idea of everyone already understanding that we exist.
And in this meeting that was broadcast, the government admitted that they recovered extraterrestrial bodies from crashed UAPs and nobody even batted an eye. Are we at a comfort level now about the idea of ETs as a nation or planet?
First of all, an individual from a particular program within the government released this information. There are those who simply do not believe the information and therefore are appearing to be comfortable with it, but are still in denial about it. There are those that are more comfortable with it. Yes, the indications of lack of reaction in certain ways can be an indication that you are closer to open contact. All of this is preparation. All of this is about the idea of disclosure, and all of it is preparation for the idea of the high probability of open contact at the end of 26 or the beginning of 27.
Okay, and you've mentioned that Skinwalker Ranch in Utah is a possible location for first open contact.
Yes.
In regards to their research there, can you tell us the origin and or purpose of the 1.6 gigahertz signal that the scientists there frequently encounter?
Yes. This is a communication signal that is also of the correct frequency to open portals. In one particular episode of that particular program, as they broadcast that signal out, they received an echo reflection, which they could not understand where it was coming from. But that is the signal that the portal is open. So when you broadcast it and receive the reflectional echo, you know that you have opened the portal. That's the significance of it and why that particular frequency is used for space communication as well. It is in alignment with the idea of communication into higher dimensional realms. So, intuitively, your scientists have figured this out, whether they understand it completely or not. But in the demonstration they gave where they broadcast that signal and got the echo reflection from seemingly everywhere and nowhere, that was an indication that they had actually opened the portal. Had someone been in a position to actually walk through the portal at that moment, they would have vanished.
Interesting. We're expecting record heat waves this summer. If the Earth gets too hot, will ETs be used to block, will they use UFOs to block the sun to help keep it cool? Or
No.
do you...
No. Climate change is a natural event that you have accelerated with your technology and pollution. This is your choice. You will have to shift to a different Earth where these things may be mitigated. The idea, of course, is that these things go in cycles, and the warming of your oceans, as you're experiencing it now, can actually, paradoxically, bring about a cooling cycle that can begin a different ice age.
So that whole idea that there's some people on the planet who want steps taken to prevent more global warming, while there's others who are opposed to it. Why do we have these kinds of, I guess, issues on our planet?
Because Earth is where all the stories are being told, positive and negative, and the splitting prism will divide into the different versions of Earth that will allow people to continue to experience the consequences of the choices they are making for their own reasons in playing out these stories positively or negatively. Earth, in that sense, is the dividing line, is the dividing space, is the college of many choices. You'll experience the consequence of the choices and the classes you have agreed to take.
Interesting. And would your ships be able to put out wildfires? Or I know you're saying they won't intervene at all, but are the ships capable of doing something like that?
Yes, by surrounding the fire with a force field that cuts off all the oxygen. The fire would then simply extinguish.
And lastly, one person was thinking that spiritual information is illegal. Is this your understanding? Because they're concerned about this kind of information, that somehow it's not okay.
If such is illegal in certain portions of your planet, then we would simply suggest that if a person desires to interact with spiritual information, that they act on their passion to either change the legality in their locale, or they simply move to a place where the idea of spiritual information is not illegal. Simple solutions are available on your planet. But there's no such thing really as the idea of spiritual information being inaccessible to anyone. You can keep it private if you wish. It doesn't have to be displayed publicly. Nevertheless, if certain cultures on your planet deem it to be illegal to contact spirit, then do something about it, or move to where you don't have to do anything about it.
And that pretty much wraps up our questions. Is there anything else that you'd like to share in the few moments that we have remaining?
We will give you what is coming up next. For the next transmission will be all about parallel realities and you. We will describe exactly how your connections to different parallel realities inform and guide the life and the themes you are exploring in this particular time stream. So be prepared to allow your mind to expand interdimensionally by focusing in on the ideas we will share in Parallel Realities and You in our upcoming transmission. Aside from that, allow yourselves to continue with this transmission by becoming relaxed and receive our unconditional love in the sharing that you are about to experience.
Thank you. I sensed a strong power or energy that came to them. Then their body started vibrating. They felt muscle cramps. And then 1 month later, they found your teachings and they experienced the same sensations again, those strong energy flow, the muscle cramps, when they listened to your information. Can you help him or her understand how to interpret this energy?
Well, in a sense, you were given a preview of the kind of energy that connects you more strongly to your higher mind, to spirit, by being open to that kind of energy at a funeral. It's not dissimilar to the kind of energy you experience by connecting to the higher mind and spirit. So you were, in a sense, allowed a preview of the kind of vibrational information that can come to you by being willing to be open to receiving that information. At first, your body may not be used to the frequency, and you may experience the idea of those bodily neurological spasms, but you'll get used to it in time. So just be open to it, and anytime you think back to the idea of being in the state you were in at the funeral, whether you feel exactly the same or not, just know you are open into that state, and go forward with your imagination and apply that energy in whatever way, shape, or form creatively you wish to by acting on your passion in life, and synchronicity will do the rest.
Thank you. Do you know if cannabis or psychedelics was or currently is being used by extraterrestrials as a communication tool? Can it be used as a way to link into the consciousness and awareness of another person? This person says they often feel it could make awareness of other beings more present, but it also felt like it was somewhere in the future, that its components could be used to enhance telepathy and communication through a feeling of energy rather than using speech.
Yes. As we have already said, with regard to the idea of the future hybrids, including Willa Hillichrising, going through the different stages of mastery, a substance, a teacher called divinorum, is often used to make interdimensional linkages. And so different extraterrestrial beings at different times and different civilizations use the teachers of their own planet that grow naturally to aid and assist them in this endeavor.
So, and on that idea, sometimes we have large gatherings that are called rock concerts or music concerts,
Yes.
where people, there can be large numbers of people, like 50,000 people,
Yes.
all getting into a very excited, happy state, dancing, singing, all
Yes.
of that. And for some people, that seems to open up the doorways for some form of ET contact.
Of course, this is ancient shamanism. That's all this is. Remember, drumming circles, dancing circles, vibrations, frequencies, resonance. It's all about that. It doesn't matter how you accomplish it as long as there is unity and harmony in the frequencies with the intent going in a similar direction. We are aware that just recently it has been recorded that at a certain concert from the individual you know as Taylor Swift, individuals were vibrating in harmony to such an extent that it was actually recorded as a 2.2 earthquake.
That's exciting.
There are powers in harmonies. There are powers in resonances. It doesn't matter how you achieve this.
I know there was one rock musician who was very fascinated by these ideas, and he suggested that certain arenas like the Superdome, they look like spaceships, and that
Yes.
there somehow might be a way for an entire group of people to levitate such a thing. Is that realistic, or is that real? Or
Yes, it is potentially true. It depends upon the intent and the focus of the individuals. But there is enough power to do that.
so if
And-
you had 50,000 people in that,
And in any event, in many cases, you will find that portals are being opened with those resonances.
so is it similar to a galactic gathering when these kinds of events occur, where there's so many people in such an ecstatic state?
Smaller scale, but yes, similar in principle.
So they aren't necessarily conversing as much as they are celebrating together. Would that be?
What's the difference?
Well, it seems like there's a frequency difference between just regular communication and celebration.
You can generalize the vibration into what you would perceive as a celebration, but there is always communication. Joy spreads outward. Joy ripples outward to infinity, always. And that is a message.
The channel once mentioned the idea that if you had 50,000 people in that kind of a state and they all focused on levitation, is that the idea that they could literally all levitate together? Or
It's possible, although again, you have to take into account whatever belief systems are in the collective. It might be easier for all of them to imagine that they could each levitate an object rather than themselves. So you may start slow and simple, but you will be able to see demonstrations of this if the intentional focus is harmonized in that way.
it's a very exciting possibility to utilize those kinds of circumstances. I suppose it's like that at a football game too, where people are so excited, but it's a little different because the energy is competitive, I suppose.
In the future, we perceive that gatherings at such stadiums will be primarily for the kind of purposes we are talking about right now.
That's really exciting. Is there a limit to the human population that planet Earth can sustain?
Well, of course, it depends on how you allocate your resources. The way you are allocating your resources now, you have exceeded the limit that is capable of surviving and thriving. However, were you to reallocate resources, eliminate certain political, social, religious limitations, and allow equalization to occur in certain ways, you could find that the Earth could sustain 10 to 12 billion individuals quite comfortably, but major changes would be required.
Can you suggest a method for me or this person that can be more in the moment and to stop ruminating and worrying about things that they can't control?
What I have just said to the other person will also work for this person. They need to meditate and focus on the idea of the beliefs they have attached to the motivational mechanism within them and ask themselves the honest question and revealing question, what am I getting out of these ruminations? How is it serving me? What am I afraid to let go of that I think would be worse if I did? They have to really focus on the idea that they're continually choosing to ruminate on these things to prevent themselves from going in a different way, a different direction that they have a belief says it would be worse than where they are, as stuck as they may feel. So they have to have a little bit more honesty and deep investigation within themselves and admit that they're choosing to ruminate on these things to prevent them from going in a different direction, to be aware of other things within them that they may be afraid to face. They have to strip themselves away and really look at the core being that they are and why they are holding on to these things, repeating them over and over again, and what they're getting out of doing so and what it prevents them from realizing.
And that idea of rumination, for some people, I think that it's not as strong a compulsion in certain circumstances, but then in other ones, it can be almost like their mind is taking over and they can't stop the rumination. Is that also addressed in what you just said, or?
Yes, because again, you have to take the responsibility that you, for some of your own reasons, are choosing to ruminate on something. Why? What are you getting out of it? What are you learning from it? Anything at all? So the idea is to understand what rumination prevents you from looking at, that you're too afraid to look at on a deeper level within your belief system.
And following up on that, for many people, when they're first learning about your information, they find that they have been, in a sense, programmed to talk to themselves a certain way, to create anxiety, to feel like their mind has more power than they do in terms of what they think about these ideas. Can you help us understand what is the mechanism or what happens in childhood that creates that kind of relationship with the conscious mind, and that what your information does to allow the person to let go of feeling controlled, in a sense, by their negative ego?
I'm going to be somewhat poetic about this. The idea that you're calling programming is what we might refer to poetically as the darkening of the mirror. Their own mirror has been shadowed, so they are not really fully willing to look at their own reflection because they are afraid of what they will find in the mirror. Being told that the reflection will be representative of their lack of worthiness. So the idea is that their mirror, their internal mirror, has been shadowed to the point where they will be afraid to look at it, to look in it, to really see the true reflection of unconditional love that is pouring back from all that is through the mirror to them. They need to either shatter that mirror and get a new one, or clean that mirror to see the true, childlike, beautiful spark of existence and reflection of all that is that they are, and really let go of all the things that have been told to them the stories that have clouded the mirror, darkened the mirror, shadowed the mirror. So they need a clean rag of forgiveness, of understanding, and self-love to keep wiping that mirror until they see the beautiful light that is the childlike reflection of all that is that each and every one of you are. So I'm going to be poetic about this because maybe that will help as a permission slip to help them clean up the idea of the so-called definition of programming, which is nothing more than being convinced that you aren't worthy to see your reflection because you're afraid of what that reflection will show you. When all it really can show you, if you clean the mirror, is your true spark of light, your true self as a reflection of all that is.
That is lovely.
Yes.
And along those lines, some tips are requested for letting go of painful memories that maybe trigger PTSD or those kinds of ideas.
I have just given you the tip.
Okay. Can a focus on releasing beliefs that are general in scope allow us to indirectly release specific beliefs? Or is it necessary to focus on releasing specific trauma?
Letting go of general beliefs can encourage you to practice letting go of more specific ones. It depends upon the themes of exploration, the person involved, the personality construct as to whether or not absolute specificity is required in all cases. In most cases, it may be representative of a theme you do need to investigate and explore. But letting go of more general things you believe you can handle to let go of can encourage you and give you the practice you need to let go of more specific things more easily.
Okay. And then this person is saying that they keep sabotaging their own success with procrastination and pessimistic doubt. Can you speak on the idea of procrastination and pessimistic doubt about one's own ability to be successful?
Everything we have recently just said about the motivational mechanism and the darkening of the mirror applies to this particular situation as well.
Okay. And procrastination, is that just anxiety, or are there many different reasons why people procrastinate?
Of course there are. Again, fundamentally, it has to do with feeling unworthy or not deserving or unable or ill-prepared, or many of these kinds of belief systems about the self. Procrastination is a choice to not move forward. And whatever reasons a person may give themselves for staying where they are can easily be found with, again, a thorough investigation of their beliefs of what they are afraid will happen if they do move forward. So the idea is, whatever it is they believe is necessary to allow them to move forward, either a complete restructuring of the idea of how they should move forward. This is why imagination is also a form of abundance, because they may come up with a different path than they thought they had to take that can remove the procrastination. Sometimes just a simple assumption of how you think you're supposed to do something, once removed, will allow you to move forward with great speed, because now it's no longer necessary to go down the path you thought you had to go down or should go down because of your training and so on and so forth. So a clear examination of the belief systems of what is truly necessary to move forward can also remove these ideas of impediments that you impose upon yourself that you're calling procrastination.
Okay. And this person would like to learn to channel the spirit world the way that Darryl channels you. And they're saying they have the ability, they know we all have the ability for metaphysical communication, but what is the best way to expand ultimately, the question is, how do you expand your communication with your higher mind, which is in its own way channeling the spirit world? Is that correct?
Yes, as we have said before, the idea is have the intent to be of service, to not worry about what comes through at first, to gain practice, and have people surround you with questions who really, really wish to know the answers so that they can pull the information through you, like the idea of water seeking its own level or electricity seeking a ground in the people asking the questions, then you can get your mind out of the way and not worry about what it is you're saying, what it is you don't say, how silly it sounds, how silly you look. Being right all the time or accurate all the time. You need practice. You need to let go and open up and let the people pull the information through you from the higher levels without you worrying about any of those things that most people on your planet are concerned about in terms of what other people think about what they're doing. That's one of the best ways to practice. Have people ask you questions and not care what does or doesn't come through or how it comes through. Just see what happens. You can always give the caveat and the so-called disclaimer, as you say, up front that, look, I don't know exactly what's going to happen here. Something may come through, something may not come through. Something may sound completely ridiculous. Something may feel accurate and turn out later not to be accurate in your estimation. It doesn't matter right now. I am doing this to gain more sensitivity and more awareness of how to connect to the idea of my own higher mind, and I appreciate deeply the opportunity to do so by you asking questions. You're giving me a chance to perform and practice, and that's all that's necessary right now to understand. And with that out of the way, then you can feel free to bring through whatever comes through, as long as you understand that you're doing it for the purpose of being of best service to those who are asking the question. And that's all there is to it. That's your intent. Of connection, and they are timing, communication, and action. Allow us to elaborate. This information is not only for the purpose of strengthening connections between each and every one of you as humans upon the earth, but also between the humans of earth and the hybrid beings that will eventually come to live among you. Because there are certain kinds of vibrational frequencies, certain states of being, certain energies that are very important for establishing strong connections between the hybrids when they eventually come to live among you upon the earth. The idea of tapping into timing of communication allows you to begin to be able to sense when the time may be appropriate to establish a connection, looking at all factors, not only in your society, but in their society, looking at the opportunities that come to you through synchronicity to show you when the timing is more appropriate than other times, to not be too eager, to not be too desperate, to allow yourself to relax into the flow of the timing that is essential for clear connection and communication between you and the hybrid beings. And again, this is something that you can begin to hone your senses on with respect to connections between each other, is to never be too ready to push an idea, an agenda, an idea of information to one another, but to allow synchronicity to show you when it has automatically set up the most appropriate and best possible timing in which information can be exchanged when all parties involved in that communication are receptive and open and willing to ponder and absorb and consider the information being shared that is representative of the excitement and passions of each individual involved in the cross communication. So being more sensitive to the timing of a communication will be essential not only for your own future on earth in terms of the communications that you may feel are necessary to share with one another to propel you forward in a positive direction, the sharing of knowledge, the suggestions of different pathways that you may take without the insistence or expectation that they must be listened to. Synchronicity will provide the perfect timing for this, And you will be able to sense it more and more if you relax into the way things naturally and automatically unfold in your society. The second part, the communication itself, the willingness to reach out, to share, to offer suggestions, alternatives, points of view. The idea of paths that others might take, but again, upon which you have no insistence that they must take. Communication of essential and vital information that deals with connection, expansion, positivity, creativity, and unconditional love will be of primary importance when synchronicity has shown you what the timing is for such exchange. Then the willingness to communicate, to share perspectives, to see from each other's points of view will be of critical value in moving forward in your reality to build and shift and navigate yourselves toward a more positive version of Earth. Gathering the information you believe might be essential to share, the perspectives that you believe will be the most beneficial in being of service to one another, and in that communication, the asking of questions of how the other side of the communication might deem necessary information to be given to them, might ask for certain things to be shared, might suggest certain things for you to ponder. So it is the telling and the asking in the communication, as you say in your ancient language, the getting to know you, getting to know each other aspect of communication, really digging down and understanding that everyone has a valid point of view based on where they are coming from, and that the communication must not have any hidden agendas or any kind of desperation or need to force someone to see the point of view that you are espousing, but simply being offered in service as a suggestion for all to consider, to see if it is part and parcel and in alignment and in harmony with their path, their chosen path, and to implement and apply it where appropriate in their own estimation. So the synchronous timing of delivering the information, the back and forth getting to know you of the communication, and truly investigating the perspectives of each and what they bring into the communication, to get to know them much more deeply, to allow them to know you much more deeply, to create and forge common ground so you can move together in harmony, move upward and expand and move forward in harmony together, and build a more positive reality by shifting to the version of Earth that would support all of the dialogue and all of the suggestions and ideas and creativity and love that would come out, that would spill out of that equal communication, equal interest, equal curiosity, equal inventiveness, equal creativity, and equal love. And then, finally, the third principle of action. As we have often said, physical realities, language is the language of action, the language of doing. Words are not enough. Communication is fine, as we have just outlined. But the activity of following through, of doing what you say you will do, of supporting the whole in a variety of ways through the actions that you participate in, that boost and form the forward momentum, that demonstrate your willingness to commit to the ideas you have shared and the automatic timing of synchronicity. The actions you can take in your imagination, physicalize them to the best you can. Don't leave them in your imagination. Show each other and show the hybrid beings that you are willing to commit through physical action to what it is you have discussed, to be able to forge and build a different world, a world that is truly physically representative of what you have all shared in your communication. The willingness to participate, the willingness to be the reality that you say that you prefer to experience, to be the change you wish to see in your world, as you often say. through those actions, through that commitment, through the willingness to demonstrate physically what you have talked about, then each other and the hybrids will know that you are serious, that you are committed, that this truly is representative of your passion, that it is truly representative of who you are and your core vibration. And so together, with the application of synchronous timing, the willingness of pure exchange and curiosity in your communication to get to know one another, and the willingness to take the actions to back up what you have said, to demonstrate physically by showing that you support what it is you have discussed, will navigate you strongly in the direction, vibrationally, of more connection and expansion with each other, and more connection and expansion with the hybrids when they come to live among you in the near future, in the years ahead. So we thank you for allowing us to share this particular approach to the idea of forming the behaviors of connection and expansion to one another and to those with whom you will be interacting should you continue on this vibrational course. We thank you for this opportunity, and in return for the gift you have given us of interacting with you, we ask you now, in what way may we be of service to you? Please begin with your questions and dialogues if you wish.